This is your review guide for your quiz. Let's get started. Here is a reminder on how to do the distributive property. Notice the factor 4 is getting distributed to each term on the inside of the parentheses. So we are taking 4 times 2x and we're adding that to 4 times 8. That's how we get 8x plus 32. Go ahead and pause your video, do the distributive property for 1, 2, and 3. And then when you're done, I have my piece of paper that you can come and check to make sure that you get the correct answers. For this portion of your study guide, we are combining like terms. Remember when we're simplifying a bigger expression down to a smaller expression. Okay, so let's refresh your memory by doing example 1 together. We have 2x plus 10 minus 3 plus 7x. So if you are comfortable with this, go ahead and solve it on your own. Otherwise, if you remember, I tried teaching a stacking method technique in class, and I'm going to do that right now. So I see that 2x can be stacked with 7x. And then all I have to do is add those two together. 7 plus 2 is 9x. Okay, so that takes care of the 2x, that takes care of the 7x. Now I have 10, a positive 10, and a negative 3. So when I add those two together in my calculator, I type in 10 plus a negative 3, I get 7. So then my answer is 9x plus 7. Okay? Let's try number 2 together, and then you guys can do 3 and 4 on your own, and then check the answers on my answer guide. So we have 13t, a negative 1t, remember there's a 1 in front of that t, and then negative 2t. Let's add those all together. So in your calculator, you're going to type in 13 plus negative 1 plus negative 2. You end up getting 10t. Since we have nothing to combine the 15 with, okay, it just stays 15. And that's our answer. Okay, pause the video. Go ahead and try to do problems 3 and 4 on your own. If you need help, let me know. I will be glad to help you. Otherwise, do them on your own and then check the answers with my answer sheet. All right, factoring. Factoring was the last thing that we did, so if you don't remember, okay, please come and ask me. If you didn't learn it, please come and ask me. I'll have to get with you to teach you. Otherwise, let's do number 1 together to refresh your memory on what it is that we actually have to do. But let's first go over the example. So if I'm looking at 20 and 16, the greatest common factor between 20 and 16 is 4. Okay, and you can do the factor ladder or factor tree in order to determine that. But I showed you in class the benefits and the perks of doing the factor ladder. If you remember that, do that. But anyway, for this one, you can take out a 4. So 20 divided by 4 is left with 5x. And then 16 divided by 4 is left with 4. So that's why you have 4 as the factor on the outside. And then 5x minus 4 as your terms on the inside. Okay? So let's do number 1 together. If you look at 7 and you look at negative 4, if you look at 14, you should recognize that both of them are divisible by 7. So we're going to take a 7 out. 7 is going to be our factor. So 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2x. And that becomes our answer. Let's try number 2, just in case you didn't do too well on your own for that one. So if I look at 3 and 9, I'm going to go ahead and do the factor ladder over here on the right side. So you guys can remember the benefits of doing it this way. We're going to factor out a 3. 9 divided by 3, you're left with 3x. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So these numbers right here is going to be what's inside of your parentheses. Okay? This number right here, your GCF, well, that's the factor on the outside. So the answer is 3 times 3x plus 1. Okay? Pause your video, do 3 and 4, and then check your answers with my answer sheet. All right. Here's where we're getting into something that was pretty hard for most of our class members here. I know the addition one isn't going to be hard, so remember the first step is to rewrite it without the parentheses. So let's go ahead and do practice number 1. Let's rewrite it without the parentheses. And then all we have to do is the stacking method. I can stack 5x and 2x. I can stack 8 and -1. 5x plus 2x, that gets me 7x. 8 minus 1 is 7. So 7x plus 7 is our answer. Go ahead and do number 2. Okay, write it without the parentheses, then stack the like terms, and then simplify those terms. And then you can check your answers with my answer sheet. Subtraction was the worst one of them all. Okay, so we are going to zoom in on the end of our expression, and we're going to multiply that last half of the expression by a -1. So we're distributing the -1. When we do that, we're going to end up multiplying -1 to -3x and -1 and +9. When we get that, -1 times, this is where you use your calculator. You type in -1 times -3. You get a +3. Then a -1 times a +9, when you type that into your calculator, you get a -9. Okay? So once you distribute the end part of this expression, you're going to bring down the front end. Okay, now you just do what you normally do, stack them, stack the like terms, and simplify. So we've got 6x and 3x. When added together, gets you 6, 7, 8, 9x. And then we have the 13 and the -9. So when you use your calculators to add those together, you get 4. So then the simplified version is 9x plus 4. All right, let's do practice number 2. The first thing you're going to do is the end of that expression and distribute the -1. So let's write this on our paper. We're going to end up multiplying -1 to the -4x first, and then to a +1 next. So using your calculator, you type in -1 times -4, you will get a +4x. And then in your calculator, you need to multiply -1 times +1, you will get a -1. So now that you distributed the -1, let's go ahead and bring down the front end of that expression without the parentheses. And let's go ahead and do our stacking. We've got -7x here and a +4x. Okay, that takes care of that one and this one. So now we've got -10 and a -1 that we need to add together in our calculators. So -7x plus 4x, you get -3x. -10 plus another -1, if you use your calculators, you get a -11. But a plus and negative, remember, is subtraction. Okay, moving along. The last section of these notes is the translating section. If you need help in regards to these problems, please ask me for help. Otherwise, go ahead and pause your video, do them on your worksheet, and then check the answer sheet for your answers. Don't forget to study for your quiz.